All right, guys, it's Nathan, and I'm doing Ecclesiastes 7, so we're going to hop right in. The first verse we're going to go into is verse 2. And verse 2 says, "It is better to go to a house of mourning than to go to a house of feasting, for death is the destiny of everyone, and the living should take this to heart." So I think this is a really important verse as Christians to hold on to and remember, because to be honest, we don't know what God's plan is for us. We don't know when death is. We don't know when our lives are going to end here on earth. And we should be doing our best every day and every week to be glorifying God and make decisions that glorify God. And even right now, that's sometimes hard to do because there's so much other distractions. And for a lot of people, there's less distractions. But this is a time to really think about, like, we should be living our lives for God in every moment and growing a relationship with it and trying to just preach His name and do the best we can, because that's what we're called to do. Now, the next thing I'm talking about is verse 7. And verse 7 says, "Extortion turns a wise person into a fool, and a bribe corrupts the heart." And so this is kind of talking about money, because money corrupts people, and that's what I was talking about in the verse, and my cheater notes told me that. But Satan uses a lot of things to extort us and just take us away from God's love and grace. And so he'll use anything that pleasures you and just makes you happy besides God to try to cloud your heart and your judgment and make ungodly decisions. That's going to hurt your relationships. So you got to watch out for that. Next, we're going to go to verse 10. And verse 10 says, "Do not say, 'Why were the old days better than these?' For it is not wise to ask these questions." And it's kind of saying, like, the good old days, like, you don't want to fret on the good old days. And I think that's a really good point and important. But you also don't want to forget what you learned from the old days. So not every day is good, and it's not always the good old days. But you have to be careful not to forget all the lessons you learned from the good and the bad days of your life. Now, verses 13 and 14. It says, "Consider what God has done. Who can straighten what He has made crooked?" So you can't go against God. It's impossible. "When times are good, be happy. But when times are bad, consider this. God has made the one as well as the other. Therefore, no one can discover anything about the future." So in your life, things are going to be going great, and you might start to forget God. And that can be things like Satan's extorting you, putting things in your life, or just making you think you're better than God and you don't need Him anymore. And that's when you might get faced with hardships that are going to bring you back to God, because that is what we're here to do. We're here to glorify God. And so we're not in control of God's plan. He is. So it's just kind of talking about that there's going to be good times in your life, there's going to be bad times. Every Christian's going to face both. And in the bad times, you need to be praying for strength to get through them and just keep growing your relationship with God, because that's what we're called to do. And then lastly, verses 17 and 18. "Do not be over wicked, and do not be a fool. Why die before it is your time? It is good to grasp the one and not let go of the other. Whoever fears God will avoid all extremes." And actually, verse 16 says, "Do not be over righteous, neither be over wise." And now this is kind of talking about, I think for Christians, a lot of Christians kind of get up on their high horse and think they're better than other people. And this is something we're warned about a lot in the Bible, is we have to be careful. Like, if you're a Christian, you're acting almighty, and you actually think on the inside that you're better than other people, you're a fool, because by doing this, you're shutting yourself off to other people, you're shutting yourself off from teaching other people, and you're just not glorifying God at that point. You're glorifying yourself. And I think that's something we all need to be careful of, because it's something that Satan can extort us with and kind of put in our minds to stop glorifying God. And that's all I got for today. God bless. Everyone have a great day.